chairs back here. Well, good evening, Queensborough. My name is Mark Gifford, and I'm a first-time candidate for school trustee here in Westminster. And I'm running to create more inclusive, engaged, and high-performing schools. I'm inspired to run because of the role public schools played in my own life growing up, by the insight gained as an advocate for struggling children and families, and now as a parent to a Lord Kelvin student. My passion is grounded in 20 plus years, focused on making a positive difference with and for young people and their families, improving schools, organizations, and systems intended to be in their service. At organizations like Vancouver Foundation, I built award-winning youth and community partnership, raised and distributed tens of millions of private philanthropic dollars, and designed successful public engagement and advocacy campaigns. All of that has been predicated on ability to create space for people impacted by decisions to have some voice with governments, funders, and policymakers. New West needs a fresh infusion of collaborative and creative leadership to make the most of our talent and resources. We need strong planning and oversight, and to build bridges with provincial and local partners to stand up for our promise of a great public education for every New West student. We need people with the willingness to listen to different points of view and who have strong track records of demonstrating outstanding results. Like you, I want a new high school, the technology kids need and deserve, the community we desire. But if we keep doing things the same way we've been doing them, why do we expect different results? So I offer 3 additional priorities for strengthening the confidence in our schools. One is to offer leadership that listens to and embraces the wisdom of students, parents, and educators to nurture a long-term vision and makes good evidence-based decisions. 2, create strong community school partnerships. 3, enhance teaching and learning supports that prepare all students for success, stand up for vulnerable kids and families, and offer a strong, effective voice on provincial decisions that impact our kids. You know as well as I do the powerful role that schools have in the lives of kids and families. And so let's ensure we create opportunities for every New West student to thrive. Together, we can. My name is Mark Gifford, and you can find out more at markgifford.ca. Thanks.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you, first of all, for everybody for coming out this evening and taking the time to become politically engaged. I think the numbers in the community in terms of who turns out are not very flattering for the city, and I think the more we can engage people, the better. First of all, my name is Bill Harper, and I've been on council for 9 years. I'm somebody who has been engaged in the community. One called me an activist before I was on council, and I translated that into action by being on council and being able to do the kind of things I think that has made the city a much better place than it is today than when I arrived. And the first piece I think that a city councillor should be explaining is what is their vision of the city. And I think everybody needs a vision, and not only that, the city needs a vision. We have a vision, and it's in our overall strategic plan. And that strategic plan is to build a livable city, to build one that's going to be more high-tech and live in the modern-day economy, and one that's going to be able to make sure that issues like transportation are actually dealt with. And I think to a large extent that this council has actually begun and has tackled some of those key questions. First of all, in terms of the kind of facilities we have, this one you're sitting in here today was no accident. And I think the planning that the council did in terms of putting this together was wonderful. The Anvil Center is the same, and I'm not going to run through all the different infrastructure projects that we've done, but I think we get an A when it comes to doing all those kind of projects throughout the 9 years that I've been on council anyway. Number 2 is, when you're on council, you know, it's not easy. People think this is just a walk in the park. It's not easy at all. There's many really difficult questions that come in front of you. And the real question is, how do you get to yes, right? And to have that skill set is really important. I spent 15 years as a national rep of the Canadian Union of Public Employees. And I think that the kind of skills that I had and develop as a national rep really have contributed. Number one is, my job for 7 years was to relate with government, to negotiate with government, to be able to mediate with government, to be able to come to agreements with government, understand the legislation, make sure other people understood that legislation, and at the end of the day, be a troubleshooter. I did that for 7 full years, and I'm very proud of that, because I bring a skill set to council that will actually bring council people together week over week. And when you take a look at the decisions that are made in the city, many people think they're made by 1 or 2 people. They're made by 4 people, 7 councillors. If you don't have 4 votes, it doesn't go anywhere. And so being able to get to yes, be able to coordinate and develop a plan that's actually workable and progressive and it's actually been successful is no easy task. And I think that the councils that we have in the past 3 years that I've been here have been able to do that. And one of them is being respectful, one of them is being able to actually listen and see what other people's views are and actually integrate that into the plans that the city has. So I think that one of the key issues for me has been the whole issue of the intelligence city. It's not very well known out there, but we have 17 kilometers of fiber in the city. And we have an intelligence city committee, which I'm the chair of, that's planning to develop a system run by the city that gives 1 gigabyte of broadband to every household and every business in the community. You say, why are you doing that? This is a magnet. First of all, technology is the future. If you don't recognize that, then I think there's a serious problem in terms of moving forward as a city. And so this new fiber network, along with programs that we're going to have in place, will be a magnet for attracting business into the city. The experience right across the world, and we've done that. I've been to conferences in New York. I've gone through the whole process of listening and talking to people around the world in terms of how their systems are working. This is the new reality in the world in which we live in. And so the reality is to get off this mic. Okay, so so thank you very much. I've really enjoyed the 9 years I've been on council, and I just hope I get re-elected again. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Tracy Block, and I'm honored to be here to speak to you as an independent candidate for City Council. I was born in Winnipeg and have lived across Canada, but I'm very proud to call New Westminster home. For more than 20 years, I've lived, worked, and raised a family here, and placed my confidence in the city and the citizens running it. Now, I'm asking them to place their confidence in me. Professionally, I'm a sign language interpreter, a post-secondary instructor at the college level, and a freelance writer. I've served on the city's education committee and professional boards, and I work to assist our youth with disabilities in attaining their future career goals. The question is, what do these times and these people demand for the next 4 years in New Westminster? 4 years is a long time. As with any of my fellow candidates, we all have issues important to us. Traffic calming, clear communication, and safety are some of mine. Of course, one must elect good people with good intentions, but all of our candidates here are good people with good intentions. So why choose one over another? New West has been well served by its past council, with some members on board for well over a generation. But the time is right to welcome fresh energy, experience, and ideas. Just last night, Mayor Wright spoke of the need to elect a future balanced council. And while the mayor was encouraging the election of independent candidates like myself, I also urge voters to look for balance in the number of female and male candidates they decide to elect. Given that there are only male candidates running for mayor, the only opportunity to elect females for the next 4 years is on council. An election symbolizes an end as well as a beginning. In the end, I offer to convert good words into good deeds, not only to work toward initiatives, but to follow through. All of this will not be finished in the first 100 days of a 4-year term, nor will they be finished in the first 1,000 days. But let us begin. Begin by coming out to vote and making that vote count. I'm Tracy Block. Thank you.
Good evening, and I'd like to thank all of you for taking the time to come out tonight and learning about everybody. My name is Gavin Palmer. I'm a healthy 67-year-old semi-retired entrepreneur from Queensborough who understands the anomalies of our unique community and will make sure that Queensborough is correctly represented at City Council should you elect me. Over the last number of years, we have earned the respect we deserve from the City Council and have seen vast improvements, this building being one. Through the efforts of our Residents Association working with the city staff. However, we still have a long way to go, and that is why I'm asking you to vote for Gavin Palmer on November the 15th. We are thankful that our community has received numerous needed amenities through a negotiated deal with Starlight Casino and the BC Provincial Gaming Authority. We now need our city to complete their job of supplying road, storm sewer, and sidewalks for the increase in population now planned and being attracted to Queensborough and New Westminster. Waiting in excess of 7 years for the Labour District NDP endorsed council to direct our city staff to finish off the improvements which the Windsor Muse developer has paid for is totally unacceptable. You all now know that New Westminster is number 2 in the Lower Mainland in taxing their residents. It has the worst traffic flow and an ever-increasing amount of truck traffic to deal with. Along with that, add to the loss of small business appeal, and the result will be more taxation for our residents. Then we'll be number 1. What an affirmation for our city. This district Labour endorsed council boasts about the many things that they have accomplished. And incidentally, make all those announcements and official openings just prior to the election to get as much press as reasonably possible so they can trick you all into voting for them again. How stupid do they think we really are?
15 seconds.
Right now, we do not have a council, and all candidates are looking for your approval to represent you on council. Don't be fooled by those district Labour endorsed candidates who claim to be independent. They are not. They are a slate. The New West District Labour Council endorses them, then asks the unions in the district to fund their campaigns and supply them with so-called volunteers to help them get elected. That's a slate. All for one and one for all. Don't take my word on this. Ask Wayne Wright about his battle with the big machine. If I have your confidence and vote on November 15th, one of the first items I will deal with will be to eliminate those severance packages that council voted themselves should they retire or not be re-elected. A term is a term. And if a council member doesn't understand that terms end, then you need to question their abilities and their trust.
3 minutes to 3 minutes.
As they are not looking after your interest, they're looking after their own. And you, the taxpayer, will end up paying for it. Thank you to the Queensborough Residents Association for this opportunity to talk to you. And remember to vote on November the 15th and vote for Gavin Palmer. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm James Crosty, running for mayor of this great royal city, your royal city. You'll have to excuse me tonight as I speak softly and slowly. As I've been talking to so many people, I have a little laryngitis. I'd like to thank the Queensborough RA for hosting this discussion tonight, and for you, the voters, of coming out to hear our views. I've been a property owner and lived here for 25 years. I'm 58 years old and been with a partner for over 38 years. Mom lives with us now and she's 90. I've learned a lot about seniors care, especially somebody with dementia. I'm an independent candidate. I will focus on things that I've heard need to be done and what I've accomplished in 25 years, and ask you to imagine what a fresh, new, hard-working entrepreneur like me could do if I was mayor. This is Queensborough specifically related, things that I think are important to you. Traffic. 3 years ago, I identified this as a main issue, and what has been done since then, very little. The Royal City, as a result of an action, is now perceived as a complainant, and this has had a negative impact on our neighboring communities. Mayor Wright has been on the Translate Mayor's Board for 12 years, and tell me, are you better off now than you were in 2002? This council was unable to stop the building of a large container warehouse adding truck traffic into Queensborough. Next, you're about to see more buses and recycling trucks. It's time to reboot City Hall. Within the next 6 months of becoming mayor, I'm going to reach out to Burnaby, Coquitlam, Surrey, Richmond, the politicians that make the decisions. We're going to sit around the table. We're going to discuss the traffic issues that we experience and they experience. I know it's been a nightmare to get on and off the Queensborough Bridge, and leaving Queensborough Landing makes me crazy. I can't imagine what it's like for you folks. I come shopping here, and I can imagine how you feel. Our goal will be to establish New Westminster as a facilitator of traffic, not a roadblock to transportation movement. Development. This mayor and council have for over a decade spent energy building a better community. It's here, so we need to make the best of it. By working with developers and not telling developers what to build. It'd be nice if the city put police in your police office right now. It would be nice if they filled your ditches in without charging you half. Those are promises made by this current mayor and council for over a decade. It would be nice if UN Avenue was completed. I mean all of it. How long has that been promised to you? I'm not opposed to development. If we create a family-friendly Queensborough, developers will build family homes, and they are. It's one of the few places where you can actually do that. With your reserves called DCCs, this is part of your development cost charges, the city will continue to make this place where your children are safe and places to play, swim, cycle, or walk. I would ensure that all the borrowing of your development cost charges stop, and the money earned in Queensborough stay in Queensborough. Let's be clear. The city has taken millions of your fund. The bike and pedestrian paths on and off the bridge are difficult, I know. I use them as a new way. And we need a new way across the Fraser River. And that should be built. But this mayor and council took $6 million from that $10 million reserve for that bridge. In the short term, I have advocated for repairs to the pathway in Stewartson Way. We'll also contact the company that proposed to finally put a ferry service in from Port Royal to the River Market. Something this mayor and council rejected without asking the public. Taxes.
James, wrap it up, please.
I only get 4 minutes? Compare your tax bill with your friends over the bridge. Did you know there's a special levy on top of your overall taxes? I will start phasing out that extra levy from your property tax bill within 3 years. It's time we introduce fair taxes across all of New Westminster. Now the elephant in the room. An employee contract is due in 2015 December. Should a mayor and council endorsed by district labor and the NDP negotiate that contract? Wages for 2013 are pushing $83 million, an increase of 30% over 2011, despite a wage settlement 3 years ago of 6.75%. Think about it, how many people live in New Westminster? The long-term debt per capita has doubled since 2011.
Please wrap it up.
Okay, from $450 to $900 per person. Over the years, my leadership has been on issues such as coal, such as opposing the exports, ensuring council meetings are announced, and I've been showing leadership for the last 25 years. On November the 15th, please consider your vote. Please consider some fresh look. Take a look at crosty.ca, and please vote for me. Thank you.
trying to figure out a way that this doesn't boom. Got a bit of a headache out there. Not because of what the candidate said, but because of this. My name is Yonina Campbell, and I am a trustee on the Board of Education, and I am also your current board chair. And it has been a pleasure to serve in my first term, and I just want to thank my fellow trustees who are on the board for a fantastic, it's been a challenging 3 years, but we have worked extremely well in the last 3 years, and it has been a privilege to work with them, so thank you. I want to start by saying that I'm a strong advocate for public education. Mark mentioned earlier that he is a product of public education. I am as well in many different cities and schools. My children go to public schools here in New Westminster. I'm a public education. I work in public education as a teacher and now as a trustee on your Board of Education. Public education matters. It's an important part of who we are, and sometimes the cliche gets used a little too much, but it is the cornerstone of our society and of a healthy democracy. And I believe we haven't reached this potential, but it has the potential to be a great equalizer. We need to, as a Board of Education, commit to advocating for a fully funded education system, and that is crucial for the success of our future citizens and their opportunity to contribute positively to our society. Having said that, as a board, we also need to be fiscally responsible and strategic. As you know, under the School Act, we have to balance our budget every year, and that's an important thing for us to do. But we also need to be really smart and responsible with the way we spend and invest our money. And one of the things that I want to talk a little bit about right now is that we need to always look at continued improvement. So a couple weeks ago, we brought 2 motions to the board for us to ask staff to come back and propose a process where we could review the way we deliver special education in our district and to look at a better way to support our schools and our teachers with helping them meet the diverse needs of students in our schools. And the board fully supported this, and I was very pleased because what it means is we have an opportunity to say, we don't get enough money, but how can we do better with the money we have? And that is a critical role for us. We continue to lobby and advocate for more money, but we do need to be smarter and more purposeful with the money we have. And I think that we're off to a good start with these 2 motions in terms of reviewing special education delivery. Am I really that fast? Or that,
20 seconds.
left? Wow, it goes really fast when you're up here. Not so fast when you're listening, I think, so. Okay, in a nutshell then. I'm very committed to safe and inclusive schools. We've started by an example of that on the board. We have a policy out there to make sure that no matter your sexual orientation or gender identity, that you will be safe and included in our schools. Policies like that are critical to our success of providing welcoming, safe schools in New West. We need to continue to engage our parents. We did a great job of this year with the parent guidebook. We need to continue to work with our parents as our partners. And as many of my candidates have pointed out and will, the youth are critical in this, and we need to continue to engage them in governance and our decision making. Finally, technology. We have to put more money into this. We have an antiquated system. And as we invest in this, the one thing we need to really make sure that we do is we make sure that technology, the access to it is equitable. So no matter what school you go to, you have the same access to technology, and that it's educationally sound. So it's not technology for technology's sake, but used for learning. Finally, high expectations for all students, and we need to support our teachers and our schools in meeting this. And lastly, like everyone has said, 24% of New Westminster citizens voted in the last election. We can and need to do better. Please get out the vote. I cannot think of a good rhyme that goes with Yonina, so just, consider me on the 15th, but really just get out and vote, and please get everyone else to vote as well. Thank you. Look forward to talking to you.
Good evening. My name's Jeremy Perry, and I'm running for a spot on the New Westminster School Board. This is my first time seeking any public office, but I do currently serve on a few boards around town, and I quite enjoy it, and I find that I've really developed a love of community service, which has prompted me to want to step into this role. So I, like every other candidate who's running for the school board, building the new high school is of the utmost importance. But I'd like to go a step further and say that while we're waiting for those funds to be released, we can't forget that there are students learning in that current school that we've been neglecting. You'll probably be really surprised to learn that there's no Wi-Fi capabilities in that school. And that is not normal for schools today. So I think that that's something we need to look at across the entire district in making sure that we are investing in technology in our schools and not waiting for a new school to get that ball rolling, because that investment can move into a new building. I would also like to see us have more youth engagement. I have some good relationships with some different high school students, and I've really come to realize that we have a lot to learn from them. I'd like to propose that we implement a youth trustee position on the board so that the high school students elect a representative who actually sits at the school board meetings and is part of the conversation and is able to influence the decisions that the board's making, because those choices ultimately impact students most directly. And I think that we have a lot to learn from them, and I'd love to see them included in that process. I would also like us to explore what other regions are doing to increase their educational outcomes. One idea that I'd really like to see if we can implement, and to perhaps work on a trial basis in a school or two, would be to stream students by learning style. This has been very effective in Finland. What they've done is they take students who are tactile learners, auditory learners, or visual learners, and place them in classrooms based on their learning style. And what that does is it helps support our teachers, because it's much easier to come up with a lesson plan when you're only having to cater to the one learning style instead of having to try to engage all three simultaneously. So, as not everybody, but many people have mentioned, we have terrible voter turnout in New West in the past. So I'd like to encourage everybody to reach out to 10 people and make sure that they're all voting as well. And on November 15th, please remember Jeremy Perry at the ballot. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeremy. And good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. It's really great to see a full house. I appreciate your patience, because there's a lot of us up here. I will try not to go over my time. My name is Mary Trentadue, and I'm running for City Council. I'm the mother of a young child, and I'm also a small business owner. My family and I live in Moody Park. I mean, near Moody Park. We don't live in the park, because that would be weird. Anyway, I'm a bit nervous, you may have noticed. I'm also on the board of my son's daycare, which is incredibly important to me. And I also have recently joined the West End Business Association, because I have a home business and it's very close to 12th Avenue. And I have some real interest in making some changes on 12th Avenue and making that a street that all of my neighbors and neighbors from the West End go and visit. And we have great shops to go to and support. So that's a very strong piece for me. The other thing about me is I am an experienced city councillor. I was a city councillor from 2008 to 2011 in North Vancouver. And I feel that I have a proven track record in that kind of skill. I was very proud of the work I did there. I spent a lot of time working with my constituents. I would go to their homes, I would take a lot of phone calls. I learned a lot about the people who lived there, and I think that that's a really important piece. You need to have councillors that you can call up and say, I have a problem, and that person will be there to assist you, and I think that's what my role is. So priorities, what am I going to focus on? There's a lot to focus on. This is a great city, and there's a lot in the city that is going really, really well. There are some things that are not, and traffic would be the first one. I can't say that I'm incredibly passionate about traffic, not like Patrick is, but I'm passionate when I'm stuck in it. And I think that most people in this room are also feel the same way. So traffic is something that this council, myself included, will have to deal with. And we will have to resolve it. And I think that means working with other municipalities. We need to have a stronger voice when we're dealing with TransLink and with the province. They need to hear us as a group, and I don't think that being a single municipality works that well. What I am really passionate about is housing and affordability. I want to make sure that people can afford to live here and that they don't have to move on because the affordability changes. For me, that means coming up with creative and innovative solutions. It might mean, wow, really? Okay. So it might mean laneway houses, townhouses, walk-ups, any kind of medium form density. I think that's very important. We also need to protect our rental housing. The last thing for me is local business. I'm a small business owner, and I think small business is hugely important to our community, as the community is hugely important to small business, and we need to have a better situation with our community and our small business. We need more vibrancy and more diversity. So I don't have a clever tagline. I will tell you my last name is a bit weird. It's Trentadue. It means 32. Go figure. Anyway, when you go to the polls on November 15th, maybe you'll remember 32 or Trentadue. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jamie McAvoy. I've been a councillor of yours for 6 years. I greatly enjoy politics, and I think one of the reasons that's possible for me is because I have a well-developed Irish sense of irony that I'm proud of. And I voted in my first election when I was 19 years old in a civic election at Westminster. And I read every pamphlet and I looked at every candidate, and I couldn't tell who to vote for because they all said they would solve the traffic problem. So it's continued like that, right? And I would encourage you when you judge your candidates to judge what people have done. The conclusion I came to was that the situation in Westminster is not so much about left or right, or your preferred political party, or what neighborhood you live in. The situation was really who's willing to come forward and serve, who can work with others, and work with a team, and get the things done that need to happen in Westminster. And I take pride that I'm one of the people who works to build bridges with others, and tries to keep that focus. And we need that in Westminster. Our challenges are significant enough that we need people in our city government who are going to be able to work together and carry through on the work that they do. I've chaired the Neighborhood Traffic Committee for the past 2 years and co-chaired the Master Transportation Plan. I'm proud that we have a commercial vehicle enforcement unit now from the police on the road. I'm proud that we have a Master Transportation Plan with 123 actions that will be followed up on with the city government in the coming term. But I'm never going to just stand and sort of have us all pat our backs and say the job is done, because it's not. And the best way to do the job is by working with everyone here, and all of the people here, people like yourselves as well. What I'm passionate about is people. And I want to make sure that everything that happens at City Hall is serving the residents of New Westminster. Not Metro Vancouver, not necessarily developers, not necessarily outside influences, but you've got to work with others to get the job done. And you've got to have a team to get the job done. And when people make claims about what can be done at City Hall, my way of evaluating that is easy. Right now, everybody on your council has a positive track record of community work that they've done in this city before they were on council. And I would say to candidates, do something good. Do something positive for your city. And if that doesn't, if you don't get elected this time, nothing's stopping you from going out there and getting a track record as a person who does good things. We need to continue to build a community in our city. We need to continue to enhance the quality of life with things like the Westminster Pier Park. We need to keep working on traffic. We need to keep working on seniors-friendly housing, more childcare, and yes, small business. I know I don't have the time to tell you a lot about myself, but I'll be very glad to do that. But I'll tell you one thing about myself is that I've done work internationally. And I'll tell you, when you've been to some of the dictatorships, or when you've worked in the new democracies, and you see the realities of those situations, and how people embrace the democracy when they finally get one, I think it really makes our differences look pretty small at the end of the day. And really, there's no reason why we shouldn't have people elected who are able to work well as a team. Thank you.
is Lori Williams, and I'm running for City Council. I've been a councillor in Westminster for the past 12 years. I'm proud to be a member of a council that has built Westminster into a livable, affordable, and accessible city. I'm a former Westminster teacher, and most of my teaching was done here in Queensborough in the old school, a long time ago. Right, Mr. Batchman? And I know that transportation and traffic are the top concern of our citizens, and I believe that we have to strive, especially with truck traffic in our city. And in addition, I think the Patella Bridge, we've certainly managed to talk the mayors of Metro Vancouver into supporting a 4-lane tolled Patella Bridge. This would get trucks off the Patella Bridge and onto the Port Mann where they belong. In the matter of affordability, we must maintain and increase our rental stock. People of all incomes should have an opportunity to live in Westminster, and developers should be advised to include more 3-bedroom units and to make housing more family-friendly. We will support our school board in their quest to get a new high school built as soon as possible, and we've been doing so all along. As you're surely aware, I chaired the Wait For Me Daddy project that was unveiled on October the 4th. We have national and yet now international recognition of this memorial. And a coin and a stamp were issued to celebrate this historic event. Make sure you get one, because there's not that many issued, and they're going to be collector's items someday. If elected, I'm certainly wanting to go on to the second phase of the Wait For Me Daddy. There will be 4 things. There'll be memorial bricks, which will be available for sale, which will be set across Hayek Square. We're going to have the Grand March. The Department of National Defense in Ottawa has assured us that that is going to be celebrating the end of World War II. And I hope to convince the federal government to make Hayek Square a National Historic Site, because not only was it used for World War II departing troops, but also for World War I. And number 4, I'm going to keep as a surprise. So if you want to know what it is, you'll have to elect me. I'm known for my work with animals, and I hope to achieve a partnership between the Humane Society and the city. In this way, I want them all to have input in the new animal shelter that was going on. Oh my gosh. So, all right, I have integrity, a strong work ethic, and the ability to carry out my duties as a city councillor. So on November the 15th, please vote for Lori Williams, because I care about my city. We are all people. This is our city, and we're in it together. So vote for Lori, you won't be sorry.
Well, I want to take an opportunity to thank everyone for coming out tonight. It's a pleasure to be in a room full of people that care about the future of our city. My name is Jonathan Cote, and I'm running to be the next mayor of New Westminster. I'm running for mayor because I want our city to reach its full potential. Our city is at a point of transition, and it's time for fresh ideas and new solutions. Now, I've been honored to serve New Westminster City Council for the past 9 years. During this time, our city has changed a lot, and I've been proud to be a part of that change. But this election is not about the past 10 years. This election is about the future. I want to lead a New Westminster that has a transportation system that works. This is probably the most important issue facing residents in New Westminster. Now, I can't sit here and say that there is a magic bullet or an easy solution to the transportation problems that we have. But I, for the past 3 years, have been co-chair of the Master Transportation Plan Committee. And I think there are opportunities to work to more efficiently move regional traffic through our city, but also to protect our neighborhoods. I think it's also critically important that the city work to provide transportation options for our residents. If we continue to develop our transportation system like we have for the past generation, we are just going to continue to have gridlock. I think it's also important that we work with our regional partners to develop a regional transportation system that works as well. New Westminster cannot be isolated. We cannot just look in at ourselves. It's one thing to say we don't want more vehicles from Surrey traveling through our city, but it's another thing when residents in the fastest growing municipality in Metro Vancouver don't have transportation options. And I think New Westminster has an opportunity to play a leadership role for regional transportation issues like expanding light rail in Surrey. I also want to lead a New Westminster that has a strong local economy. Over the past 10 years, we've seen tremendous pressure on our commercial and industrial lands for condo development. And I think we need to put in strong policies to protect our employment lands. It's critical that we live in a city that has an opportunity, where residents have an opportunity to be able to work in the city that they live. It's also critical for our tax base. I think we also need to explore what are the barriers, why aren't businesses locating in New Westminster? And I think New Westminster needs to be able to provide the infrastructure to attract the businesses of tomorrow. We've seen a lot of our old traditional industries leave New Westminster, but we need to find out what are the businesses of tomorrow. The economy has changed in Metro Vancouver, so we need to start providing things like a fiber network to really attract the businesses of tomorrow. I'm passionate about the city of New Westminster, and I'm confident if we work together, we can build a bright future for our city. So on November 15th, mark your ballot X for Jonathan X. Cote. Thank you.
All right, who put me next to Jonathan here? My name is John Ashdown. I am running as a real independent candidate for council. I have lived in New Westminster for 35 years. I am, get used to this, I am married to Marge Ashdown and Papa John to 5 adult kids and 8 grandkids. Don't ask me how that happened. My business associates call me Honest John, not Papa John, Honest John, and boy does that get me into trouble at sometimes. I am currently, I am the founding president of the West End Business Association and owner of 2 large trucking companies, the owner of the Village Coffee Lounge on 12th Street, which was my 4-year award-winning and tenure of owning a business in this city. I am currently a member of the Moody Park Residents Association and president of the Fraternal Order of Eagles in New Westminster. My prime and my prize organization for fundraising is People Helping People, and boy do we. I ran in the 2011 election to bring a balance to City Council, and I'm running this year for the same reason, to serve as opposition to what I see as an attempt to monopolize council. We need opposition to protect taxpayers and self-interest policy, and I feel I have the strength to stand up and put my fist down on the table and say, no, that's not right for taxpayers or businesses, let's not do it. So, some of the issues that I have listed out here, I'll keep my eye on the flag. Business taxes are higher than any other city. I would like to control overspending to reduce taxes for business and taxpayers. Contracts are negotiated by QP councillors and QP contracts, and they are QP contracts, but QP councillors are also in QP. I would like to see equal taxpayer representation during labor negotiations. I do not believe in the fair living wage being a business person, and I will do my best to see that it ceases. It is a policy which stifles free enterprise, increases taxes, and no other city has adopted it, so that should tell you a few things. I do not believe in the combative approach to dealing with our neighbors and provincial government. I think we need to negotiate collaboratively. Citizens suffer as a have-not city with the us and them attitude, and that has to stop. Infrastructure with our dilapidated roads and sidewalks, and talk to anybody that has to push a walker or a buggy, they'll tell you about sidewalks. We need to cut costs through our efficiencies to maintain and replace problem areas. And traffic gridlock, won't say too much on that. Negotiate a perimeter route around or under the city through traffic working collaboratively with our neighbors and provincial government. We need them and their land to funnel their traffic around our city. It's causing our gridlock. Getting the flag here, so I'm just going to cut it short. I won't go into the Civic Center and how I would like to see us make sure that it's self-supporting and not taxpayer-supported in the future. It's a beautiful facility. Anyway, thank you, and please vote Ashdown John. Easily found at the top of the ballot, the very top. Will stand up for business and taxpayers. Thank you.
My name is Marge Ashdown, and I've lived in the Moody Park area of New Westminster since 2003. I am running in this civic election as an independent. for City Council and a voice for the future of New Westminster, and to bring balance and respect back to City Hall. As we know, New Westminster is a great community. We do have some challenges though. So let's move forward with transportation, budget concerns, development, business issues, our high school, pedestrian safety, to name a few. I am a member of the Kiwanis Club of New Westminster, serving our children of New Westminster. The Kiwanis Care Center, working with the seniors in New Westminster. Hayat Festival Association, working with our community. The Moody Park Business Association, working with our residents of New Westminster. The West End Business Association, working with our merchants of New Westminster. The Fraternal Order of Eagles, the Ladies Auxiliary, People Helping People, and charities in New Westminster. Family Days, working with our families in our community of New Westminster. I connect and talk with residents throughout the city. I get involved and am dedicated to our community. I roll my sleeves up and I walk my talk. I have been a realtor since 1991, mostly in the Fraser Valley, and I am married to John Ashdown. And we have 4 daughters and 1 son, and now 7 granddaughters and 1 grandson. Thank you to the Queensborough Residents Association for this opportunity to speak, and to thank you all very much for coming out this evening. My Facebook business page is Elect Marge Ashdown to Council. Please be open-minded when you vote. I am an independent. November the 15th, please vote for Marge Ashdown, second from the top. Thank you.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. My name is Scott McIntosh. I am an independent running for City Council here in Westminster. I am dedicated to listen to the community and work on the concerns and find solutions to our problems. For example, that have been brought to me is the permit process can be seen to be very intimidating and unfriendly and very confusing. I would like to work to help make it friendlier, to stop people from doing things without permits, because people feel it's a lot easier to do it without the permit process. I was born and raised here in New Westminster. I did live in Revelstoke for 5 years while I was a CP rail conductor and worked to get my red seal carpenter ticket. I also return every winter to my residence here in New Westminster to go to BCIT to do my carpentry and other education. I've worked for the City of Vancouver the past 13 years as a foreman for the construction concrete crew, building many of the bike lanes that are quite famous in Vancouver, some positive and some negative. I got quite involved in QP 1004 after the long strike we had in Vancouver to try to rebuild relations with management and keep our jobs and compete with the private sector to keep municipal jobs. I am married to Jessica and have a son named Kent that is 3 years old. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions, concerns, or to get to know me further. I'd like to thank the Queensborough Residents Association for hosting this tonight. And I'd like to ask for you to hold 1 vote for Scott McIntosh, the next generation of McIntosh. Thank you.
Oh, am I supposed to stand up? Sorry about that. Excuse me. Hi. Good evening. My name is Jerry Liu, and it's a real pleasure to be here, and thank you for coming out. You people in this room care. I'm going to talk about those quickly. Because you care, you take your time, and you come out to these things. Listen to all of us. We say the same 18 items. Don't ask me to repeat them because I'm looking way down my phone. I can't see it. But that's okay. My name is Jerry Liu, and I'm running for city council for your new Westminster. This is your city. You're the people that are going to put 6 of us, 1 mayor, and 7 school trustees on. So, yes, I am being a little bit different. That's the way I am. I'm born and raised in New Westminster, 53 years. This city has raised me. My relatives, my aunts and uncles came from Queensboro. They settled in Queensboro, had a farm out here. My cousins today still support me. Well, okay, not financially. If it was financial, you'd see signs out. But that's okay. I'm right now rooting for you. I'm right now rooting for myself to be here through your memory. What else should I say? See, I'm already lost for words because everybody has said the same thing. Traffic, transparencies, clear, decisive communication. A little bit of my history. I belong to one service club. I'm a provincial president of the Fraternal Order of Eagles. We're 115 years old, and my last 16 years I've battled to keep our chapter in this city. Why? Because my dad immigrated here when he was 18. I'm born and raised here. My son is now raised here. Oh my God, and you're waving the flag. Does that mean to get down? Or should I keep talking? Okay. Anyways, and I keep laughing about this one line. I was thinking about it while these guys are talking. You already know most of the topics, so I'll just end it off with, a vote for Jerry Liu is a vote for you. Thank you.
The microphone, but that's a tough act to follow. I actually think this has been a very, very long time. We should all just get up and stretch a little bit. Anyways, okay, so my name is Catherine Cartwright, and I'm running as an independent. Is this the right sound? I'm getting different looks from people. I'm running as an independent candidate for council. This is my first time running, and I have no previous experience on council, obviously. There are currently 6 openings in the city for a candidate that cares about community, is capable of representing the best interests of citizens and business fairly, and is committed to seeing New Westminster grow and prosper. I believe that I am that candidate. For 30 years, I've owned and operated Seabright Builders, which is a general contracting project management company. I've been the president of the McBride-Sapperton Residents Association for the past 2 years. I've stepped down to run, but I would have been, that's right now. I'm an active member in the Sapperton Green Community Advisory Group. I'm a long-time resident of our wonderful city and have lived with my family in Sapperton for 24 years. I want a hand in ensuring that as we become a big city, we remain at heart a small town built on community. The areas that I'm most focusing on will be traffic, and then more traffic. We can't wait for 2023 for the Tallow Bridge to be rebuilt to solve our traffic problems. Sorry, it's distracting me. I think we need traffic solutions now, and as part of the Balance Council, I will work to forge a more effective relationship with our jurisdictional partners. Work towards removing tolling as a route planning incentive, gaining a direct connection to the Port Mann Bridge from the South Fraser Perimeter Road, and reevaluating truck routes. The creation of a long-term, integrated, regional traffic transit plan is essential. I'm concerned about managed development. It is imperative that we ensure development is compatible with our traffic plans. We are inviting thousands of people to live in the downtown core on what is essentially a truck route. To be a truly livable city, we must find a way to separate truck traffic from where people live. We must also be providing community amenities to support our growing population. I moved here in 1990. Since then, there's over 25,000 people that have come to New Westminster. We still have one swimming pool, Canada Games pool. You can't wave me off already. There's just no way. People feel that they are not seeing the benefit of high taxation. In Queensborough, there are kilometers of open ditches that flood over when it rains. At year-end 2013, there was over $4.2 million set aside in deferred development cost charges for drainage in Queensborough, but in 2013, only $150,000 of that was spent. I'd like to know why, and I'd like to start a better plan with that kind of money. I will advocate for quarterly publications of clear financial information, including departmental breakdowns, and I'll advocate for core review of budgeting, spending, and procurement practices to ensure citizens are getting best value for taxes paid. And I am going to wrap it up. I'm getting the look. At last evening's mayoral candidate meeting, 3 candidates made it abundantly clear that the only way to get a balanced council is to vote for independent candidates. I am an independent candidate, and as such have been effectively endorsed by 3 potential mayors. And maybe even Jonathan will come around. On November 15th, elect Catherine Cartwright, the independent, fresh face council needs.
Hi, Queensborough. Thank you for coming out tonight, and thank you to the Queensborough Residents Association for including school trustees in this meeting. We often feel like the second cousin, and it's nice to be included. So I'm running for school trustee in New Westminster. I have never done anything like this before in my life, and I'll tell you, I'll come back to that in a minute. I'm going to tell you a bit about my motives for running, and in doing so, you'll find out a bit about me. I am the mother of 2 middle school students in New Westminster who go to Glenbrook Middle School. They're in the French immersion program. They would really like to go to a new high school. I'm also the wife of a public school teacher who teaches in Surrey, and I see firsthand the day-to-day challenges he goes through with a crowded classroom and not enough support and not enough resources. Third, I have been a resident of New Westminster for 14 years. I happened on New Westminster by accident, and I'm never leaving. I love this community, and since I moved here, I've been actively involved, sitting on the boards of numerous organizations, mostly child-centered organizations, like the High Swim Club, the Queen's Park Preschool Society, Glenbrook Daycare Society, the Brown Hill Residents Association, and currently I'm the treasurer of the Vivo Children's Choir. Now, I believe very strongly in public education. My family moved here from Europe. We had nothing. I had a very working class family with not a lot of money. No one in my family or my extended family had ever been to university. No one ever thought they'd be going to university. When I started in public education in British Columbia, it gave me opportunities that I never would have had. It provides equal opportunities no matter how much money your family has or what special needs you have. I am where I am today because of the public education system. It made me a well-rounded person, allowed me to qualify for scholarships. I got a business degree from Simon Fraser University and went on to get a law degree at the University of Toronto, all funded through scholarships and the work that the public education system did in making me a well-rounded citizen. So that leads to why I'm here today. We've had tremendous challenges in public education, especially in this last year. And we've had our own challenges in the New Westminster School District. Admittedly, it's gotten a lot better the last year, as Casey said, with our new superintendent. But I said to my family, enough is enough. Public education is being threatened in this province, and someone has to step up. As a lawyer for 16 years, I'm an advocate. I advocate every day for clients who don't otherwise have a voice. I think the students in our school district need a strong advocate on the school board, and that's the reason I'm stepping up for my community. You can find out about my priorities on my brochure, but I'll tell you this. As a school trustee, my clients will be the students and families of this district.
As a lawyer, I'm known as being a loyal and tenacious advocate for my clients, and I don't intend to change that when my clients are the district students and our school district. So my son would be thrilled that there was rhyming here because he has been dying to come up with a campaign slogan. I rejected "she's a lawyer, better vote for her." I rejected the ones about smelly and belly, but he had a good one. KSK on election day. So I'll go with that. November 15th. Remember, I'm going to be the last name on the ballot for school trustees, so please save your last vote for me.
My name is Michael Ewan. I'm running for re-election to the school board. Many of you know me and know I've been on the board for a while. I've got some notes. One of the candidates, and I don't remember if it was a school trustee or whether it was a counselor, mentioned the all candidates meeting that the students put on and said, and I wrote the quote down, the downcast faces of the students. And I was just stunned at that. I'm looking at Grace here, who I thought ran an extraordinary event. We had these extraordinarily bright and capable students grilling us on what we were going to do, what we could do with education, how we could make things differently. And I have to tell you, downcast was not the word that I would have used. It seemed to me that they were bright and capable and everything that we expect. And I understand this is an election, I understand this is politics, and you should all know I'm healthy, I'm a little overweight, but that's just the way life gets sometimes. And you should also know that I'm independent. Now, I'm also a 39-year member of the NDP, and I'm very proud of that. I'm also a trade union member, I'm a teacher, I'm an activist in my union. I was on the picket lines for 5 weeks fighting to get proper funding for education, and despite the fact that my wife and I both lost income, I'm proud of that. But I'm also working with some people, and I don't get people who say, well, I'm independent and I'm not going to work with people. I think cooperation and working together is a fabulous thing. I think the fact that there are a number of us who are working together for the betterment of the city is a great thing. And I'm proud to be part of that. I think you should also know that we have a fantastic education system. Yeah, we need a new secondary school. Everybody accepts that. Everybody's working. The council the past 3 years has been phenomenal. Working with the city, working with the school board, the city working with the school board, to come up with ways in which we can do this. We're close. We've managed to get 2 schools built at a time when the government wasn't building many schools. We're building a board office that will have a huge financial savings to the district. This district, you may or may not know this, was the first district in the province to get a replacement school, Spencer, for earthquake safety. We have the ability, and we, for years, have been getting things done. Things have bogged down. We're working hard to get the secondary school going, but you need to know the education system. I see that. I won't go over time. The education system in Westminster is second to none. We have fabulous teachers. We have fabulous support staff, both cleaning the schools and working with our special needs students. They are second to none in this province, and you should be proud of them. And we have students who are just phenomenal. Bright, capable, and engaging. And Grace, thank you for hosting on Monday. It was just fabulous. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for your patience. There's only one more to go, actually. My name is Jane Jansen, and I'm running for re-election to the school board. It's very exciting to be here tonight, and I can never understand why people don't vote. Here we are, a group of citizens, joining together in a really wonderful process, a democratic process. There are tens, hundreds of millions of people, billions of people around the world who envy us the ability to get together like this and be part of a process where people are respectful and peaceful, and if people want change, they can bring it about just by going to a ballot box and making the decision that they want to make. I think that's great, and I'm really glad that our Queensborough Residents Association held this meeting. I am an independent candidate for school board, but I am proud to be endorsed by the New Westminster District Labour Council. I'm proud to be endorsed by working people in New Westminster. I don't know why anybody would not be. I am. we have an excellent public education system in New Westminster. Does it need to be improved? Absolutely. Can we improve it? Absolutely. Do we need a new high school? Yes. But you know, we have to be careful when we're building our new high school and understand that we're going to build a school that will be lasting, as this one did, for 60 years. So we have to get it right. We have to take the time. We have to work with parents, the community, and most of all, students when we're building our new high school. Students are the ones who are much more engaged in the world today. I'm 60 years old. I am not all that familiar with Twitter and Pinterest and all those good things that kids these days are engaged in. So when we are finally embarked on building a new secondary school, we have to make sure that children are involved. Not just high school children, but even younger than that can make a real contribution to the design and the function of that high school. New Westminster is a multicultural community. I think we all know that. And it is the role of public schools, I think. Public schools play a key role in providing a welcoming and a caring place for children and families from every background. We have people, Lord Kelvin School, where my daughter went, I think at one point there were 50 different languages spoken by the parents at that school. That's New Westminster, and we have to recognize that. I think we've done a good job down here in Queensborough. We have a Strong Start Center. We have a couple of other Strong Start centers in the school to give people a chance to get a bit of a head start on school. And I think we have a lot to be proud of in New Westminster. I hope you'll save one vote for James Jansen. I'm sorry, I don't have a rhyme. Jansen is a rhyme. And last,
at the top now. Thanks for not leaving. I'll try to keep it brief. Thanks. Hello. My name is Mike Folka, and it is with great pride that I'm running for your Westminster City Council as an independent, if that matters to you. Born and raised in New Westminster, I have seen the city grow and change. I have seen the landscape altered and the population become more diversified. A husband and father of 3, I understand the importance of continued, responsible, sustainable growth, and I believe that I can bring a passionate, pragmatic, collaborative open-mindedness that will contribute to our city's future success. I love this city, and I'm fully committed to making it a place we can all be proud of. Now, I could come up here in front of you all and make a lot of big, bold promises. To lower your taxes, increase your services, to fix the transportation problem while at the same time fostering a better relationship with our regional partners. These are all things that I'd love to accomplish. But I'm not going to do that today. Instead, I'm going to make promises that I believe are not only important to you, but that, if elected, I know I can keep. I promise to bring a passion and desire each and every day to solve the problems that matter most to you. I promise to listen to your concerns and work with you to find practical, sustainable solutions. I promise to advocate for you, and for those that feel too marginalized or too disengaged to speak up, to make sure that your voices are heard. I promise to be open, honest, available, and accountable to you, and not just during election time. And if elected, I promise to bring a positive brand of politics to City Hall, in the hopes of bringing real, tangible change that will help move our city forward and allow it to thrive now and in the future. In return, I ask that you make yourself heard, and on November the 15th, please get out and vote. Together, we can be the change we want to see in our community. I'd also like to invite you to check out my website at votefolka.ca. And since everybody else is coming up with a rhyme, I guess I'll go with vote for Mike. What's not to like? Thanks very much.
My neighbors for coming out as well. We are not going to have a formal question and answer period. It's getting late, but I do invite the candidates and of course my neighbors to stay and chat for a while for another 15 minutes. So thanks again.